Hello everyone. Happy Ganesh Chaturthi. This is Rahul Vadodkar hosting the NITRUS talk on Ayurved. The talk is going to be given by our own Nandita Ramesh. She graduated from our college in 1986 in mechanical engineering, and she continued to study more, and she became a yoga teacher. Actually, I should say yoga teacher. And then she also is doing Ayurved from California College of Ayurveda, and that is why she has gained so much knowledge, and she's going to share with us. Just a few logistical things. So this is only for information purpose. Of course, the information is very valuable, but it is not a consultation, nor is it an advice. So anybody watching this later, this recording, if you have any serious questions, I would recommend talk to Nandita or any other your Ayurvedic professional. This meeting will start with Nandita's presentation, and then after the presentation, people can ask questions. So with that, let me hand over to Nandita. Nandita, please start presenting. When you have to show the next screen, just let me know and I will move it forward.
Thank you, Rahul. So it's my privilege to be presenting this knowledge of Ayurveda, sharing it with you on this very auspicious day of Ganesh Chaturthi. So let's begin by remembering Lord Ganesh and also Mother Saraswati to facilitate this exchange of knowledge, exchange of wisdom. If any blockages come, may Ganesh remove it, and may Mother Saraswati allow this exchange to happen. So I will start by asking you to take just a moment to come completely into the present. Very often we are present, but our minds are elsewhere. So just bring your awareness to your breath. Feel the breath in your belly. Let's take a few deep breaths together, allowing the breath to come in and fill up the belly. And as we exhale, allow the belly to go towards the spine. Just take a few deep breaths, tuning in to the current moment, to our presence together. So today's presentation is on Ayurved. And when we say Ayurved, often because our minds have got so used to modern medicine that we think of Ayurved as herbs, different than maybe modern medicine, but just the same way. But in my presentation today, what I'm going to bring to you is a very different way of looking at healing. That's why I have called this as the soul's journey to ease, harmony, and balance. Rahul, you can go to the next slide. Now you must be thinking, what does this have to do with Ayurveda? And we are going to do a small meditation here. Most of us have drawn this kind of pictures when we were in primary school. Favorite scenery of everyone. But let's just take a moment to look at some of the things here. And we will also be doing a meditation. It can be open eyes, closed eyes, whichever way you prefer. Look at the mountains. And if you will prefer, close your eyes and visualize mountains. Solid, unmoving, stable, cohesive, holding together. Now you can open your eyes and look at the water. Close your eyes and think of water. Still cohesive, but fluid, bringing so much more ease molecules sliding against each other, taking the shape of the container, cleansing, holding together. Now let's open your eyes again and look at the sun. If you want, you can close your eyes or you can keep your eyes open, visualizing the sun. Sustaining the creation, causing transformation from one form to the other. And what we don't see in the picture, but it is there. If you have been out in such a beautiful scene, you know what we have more here. The touch of the air. Try to feel the touch of the air, though we don't have, we can't see it in the picture. You can feel it. Joyous, playful, moving. And take a moment to look at the sky. Look around you everywhere. Space. Holding everything together. Now just take a moment to look at the whole scene. You can close your eyes and think of a beautiful natural surrounding you have been to, where you have mountains and water and the warmth of the sun and the rustle of the wind and the infinite boundlessness of space. Now you must be thinking, what does this meditation have to do with Ayurveda? You can open your eyes and let's connect now. We spoke of 5 different forms: the mountains, the earth form, water, fire, sun, air, wind, and space or ether, Akash Tattva. So this 5, which we also call as Pancha Mahabhuta, are the foundation, basic foundation of Ayurveda. To understand Ayurveda, you have to understand these 5 elements and we move from there. I have a little bit more explanation in the upcoming slide. And Rahul, you can go to the next slide. And the next slide is just, I will skip this. Let's go to the next. Yeah. So in Ayurveda, and you must have heard this in so many other places, many other philosophies like shamanic philosophies and other philosophies believe that everything, the universe, is made of 5 elements, and so are we. As is the microcosm and the macrocosm, they are same. So when we recognize this and we understand our true nature, we can be in harmony. So we will try to understand these 5 elements. I will start from the bottom, the last line, the earth. And we talked about the mountain. Earth is solid, dense. So when we say that there are only 5 elements with which everything is made, in the beginning it is hard to comprehend. But what you have to understand here is, when we say earth, we mean everything which is solid and dense. So it's also the principle of inertia. Just like we say the body is made of the Pancha Mahabhuta, the mind is also made of the Pancha Mahabhuta. In the mind, they can change form from one to the other much more easily. When it is physically manifested in the body, it's harder to change form from one to the other. But the body and the mind are both made of these 5 elements, and we will try to understand this. In the beginning, this concept may be a little difficult to grasp, but many of you have heard this, so I think that it may not be so hard for you. So the earth represents the principle of inertia, everything which is solid and dense. In your body, the bones are earth. Earth and air are the bones. Your muscles are also earth. Everything which is solid is earth. Water, liquid, soft. It's the principle of cohesion, holding everything together. And in your body, the plasma, the lymph, everything else in the waters which are flowing in your body. Fire. Fire is hot. It's the principle of transformation. The most important, Agni is one of the most important thing which we deal with. Jatharagni, your digestive fire. The principle of transformation, transforming food into energy. Also fire, as part of your intellect, what you're hearing would be just vibrations, sound vibrations, if your intellect were not transforming it into meaningful information, and then from meaningful information into wisdom. So we have fire in different parts of the body, but Jatharagni is the most important. Air, the principle of motion, mobile. So where do we have air in the body? Of course, most of you will think gas after digestion and all, but air is mobile. So everything which is moving in you, the prana coming in the form of breath, the blood circulating in your body, the movement of the blood is water and earth, but the movement, the circulation of lymph, the movement of the nerve currents, peristalsis in your guts, all of that is air. So air is the principle of motion. And ether is the most subtle. It's hard to perceive, but we have the space inside us. We know we have this thoracic cavity, the abdominal cavity. Ether has the capacity to expand, be infinite. So that principle of space is ether. So if you look at density-wise, earth is most dense, and then water is not as dense but quite dense, and then we go on becoming subtle, and ether is very subtle. So if we will look at Sanskrit terms, it is Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, and Akash. These are the Panchamahabhuta. Rahul, can you move to the next slide? So from the Panchamahabhuta, our ancient rishis who compiled this knowledge of Ayurveda for us, they said that there is a tendency for some of the elements to be always together, and they came up with some concept of the doshas, the three doshas, which you must have heard a lot, but sometimes we don't fully understand it, what they are. So the three doshas are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So what are these? And dosha means we think that it is something not good, right? But when we say here in Ayurveda, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, they are the biological forces that are governing the behavior and action of the body and mind. They are very much required. They are required to sustain creation. And when they are in balance, they are sustaining creation. But when they go out of balance, they cause disease. That is why they were called as doshas, because they have a tendency to go out of balance. So now let us look at what these doshas are. Let me start with Kapha. I am always going from down to up. So Kapha is water and earth. Think of it. What can we do with earth? We can't build with earth unless we mix water with it. When we mix earth and water, it becomes clay, the building block, the foundation for everything. So that water and earth together is Kapha. Fire also, if fire existed alone, it is fire. And you just burn a matchstick, within seconds, it's off. But you burn a lamp, it goes on for a long time because it is sustained by the liquid oil. So when fire and water or fire is sustained with the help of liquid, it becomes pitta. So that is the difference between fire and pitta. Pitta is fire and water. The water element there, when I say water, you can think of it as oil. The water element there is not as big as the fire element. In kapha, the earth and water could be equal, or earth could be more, water could be more. We'll come to those things later. And then the two subtle elements generally tend to be together, air and ether. So that becomes vata. So now looking at what I have on the right side, vata is subtle, mobile. We said that air is the one causing all the movement. It is light, clear, cold and dry. And there is a reason why I underlined that cold and dry, because these are the ones which cause all the problems. So vata in our body is movement, breathing, nerve currents, blood circulation, peristalsis, and in the mind, the thoughts are vata. Pitta is sharp, penetrating, oily, hot. Hot, again, I have underlined because this is the one which causes most of the problem. So in the body, all the digestion, absorption, assimilation is being done by Pitta. And in the mind, focus, comprehension, discrimination is all the work of Pitta. Now coming to Kapha. Kapha is static, stable, gross, cool, heavy. And I underlined the cool and heavy because these two cause most of the kapha related problems. So what is kapha doing in our body? It is responsible for growth, rejuvenation, lubrication, hydration. In the mind, it brings steadiness, reliability, compassion, love. So before we move to the next slide, just want to give you one small information also here, that all of us have vata, pitta, kapha. Generally, people tend to think, they take some Ayurvedic test and say, I am vata, I am pitta, I am kapha. Don't put yourself in a box, and we will understand a little bit more about this. Without these three biological forces, we cannot exist. So all of us have all three of them, and they are helpful for us. They are sustaining us. And generally what we say, childhood is the time more of kapha. Everyone goes through that kapha because you're having growth. You are building. So earth and water is required. Then comes the time of pitta, where you go out into the world and do whatever is your dharma. So pitta helps you to have that ambition, to be goal-oriented, to go out and achieve. And then we say that just like from pitta, you could say the day after sunrise, when the sun has become bright enough to close to sunset, then sunset time of our life would be the vata, which is mostly starts in the 60s or so, where we start to more be attuned with the vata elements, and the pitta slowly starts to taper off. So this is also an information which we can keep in mind, even though your generic constitution could be pitta or pitta kapha mix, whatever, one of them may be more prominent. As you start aging, vata always starts to have some role to play higher than what it had earlier. And for children, you will see that as they move from into their teenage, they will be moving into the pitta time of their life. Rahul, can you go to the next slide? So this is again a summary of whatever I said before. Three dosha, the three physiological forces. When out of balance, they cause disease. And main functions I have put: vata, movement; pitta, transformation; kapha, structure. Can you move to the next slide? Now let us understand another concept, Prakriti. And we all have heard this term because most of us are Hindi speaking and we know Sanskrit to some extent. So Prakriti means nature. We also, it's a term used for nature or a person's nature. So in Ayurveda, we say that every person has a unique combination of Vata, Pitta, Kapha, which determines their inherent nature. So every child born has a very unique combination which determines how his physical structure will be and how his behavior will be. So if someone were to be very, very typical Vata, mostly I would say 60% Vata and 20% other things, 20% Pitta, 20% Kapha. I'm just taking a very rough example here. You will see them as lean, light frame, small, very mobile. Often they will feel cold. In the mind, they will be very creative, enthusiastic, imaginative, light-hearted, fun-loving. If someone were to have more of Pitta, if we did the Prakriti analysis and they were like 60% or more Pitta, you will see them as moderate build, mostly rosy complexion, warm. In the mind, they will be clear, very intelligent, having good leadership qualities, quick comprehension. The Kapha characteristic will have a stocky, well-built physique, smooth skin, thick hair, loving round faces, softness in them. And in mind, you will find them stable and calm, compassionate and loving. And I'm taking just a few things high level. So can we move to the next slide? So Prakriti is the inherent nature that is formed at the time of conception, not at the time of your birth. When you were conceived, your Prakriti was determined. So these are the natural tendencies or inclinations with which you were conceived. These are also called samskaras if you believe in afterlife or rebirth. These are some things which we are carrying from lifetimes, the samskaras. In this lifetime, we may clean some of the samskaras and we may be born with different combination. But in one lifetime, we say that the Prakriti remains the same. It manifests through the gene expression. And how do we find out Prakriti as Ayurvedic physicians, counselors? We look at the physical structure, not just the current. We try to ask the person and look at what has been your long-term structure, what were your long-term tendencies like appetite, sleep, how do you behave during stress, what is your natural tendency to be a leader or a follower. We will look at all of that. And the mental and emotional, what generally comes to you more easily, anger or worry or lethargy. So based on all of this, we determine the Prakriti of a person. Next slide, please. The next thing, this is the most important. Generally, it is good to know the Prakriti, but Prakriti is not which we are treating. Prakriti is just giving us an indication of the tendencies of the person, what they have to be watchful about, and also know what your strengths are. Once you know your Prakriti, you know your strength. But Vikruti is where you are in imbalance or you have moved away from your true nature. And this is what causes disease. This is what causes physical and mental ailments. So Vata, you will see, generally main thing, if a person is losing weight or there is depletion happening, we say that Vata is gone out of balance. In physical, we will mostly see constipation, skin is becoming dry, person is feeling very fatigued. And in the mind, indecisiveness, anxiety, fear, those kind of, and scattered, overwhelmed, those kind of emotions are coming. A Pitta person, on the other hand, will have, when not a person, the Pitta Vikruti. Vikruti is not personal. Vikruti is something which has come temporarily. It can be removed. So when Pitta Vikruti comes, it brings with it burning indigestion, fever, diarrhea. You can think it is hot. And in the mind, it brings anger, jealousy, aggressiveness, those kind of attributes. Kapha Vikruti, gaining weight, feeling lethargic, excess mucus. In the mind, stubbornness, greed, excessively attached, not able to let go. Mind feels dull. You are not able to absorb new information. Kapha Vikruti. Next slide, please. Again, this is a summary. So Vikruti means out of balance. So now these doshas, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, which sustain creation, have started to manifest as disease. And why are these happening? We will talk a little bit more about disease later, the Ayurvedic view. These are happening because of the sensory intakes, the diet and lifestyle choices you are making. And again, remember that Vikruti is a temporary state. We should be able to come out of Vikruti. And how, as Ayurvedic counselors, we are determining the Vikruti, we are looking at your current physical structure. Maybe all your life you were normal build, but suddenly you started putting on a lot of weight or started losing weight. Or some part of your body has swelling. Swelling is always kapha. Or some part of your body is having depletion, or you are seeing a lot of tics and tremors, vata. So we will look at that. We will look at what are your physical challenges at that time, and also mental and emotional. We never in Ayurveda just think of the physical. We say that everything is coming from the mind into the body. So it's very, very important to also examine the mind and emotions. Next slide, please. A lot of this I have already said, but I just want you to be aware, and I may not go through each and everything here. This is just to show you that Prakriti is supporting, Vikruti is where you are going out of balance. I will take one or two things here. Say the third one. Vata Prakriti is light-hearted, fun-loving. They love comedies. But when it becomes a Vikruti, now from being light-hearted, it has come to being scattered, worried. Another one, I'm taking speech. A Vata person is generally very talkative because it has all that movement, right? Very vivacious. And now when they are in Vikruti, started rambling. They are not able to hold one topic. They are moving from topic to topic. Another, let me take the last one, sleep. They are light sleepers. Generally, Vata people will be light sleepers all their life, and it is fine. Somebody sleeps deep, has deep sleep, someone has light sleep. But now, when it becomes insomnia, it has become a Vikruti. Just to give you an example, what is Prakriti and Vikruti? So, the chief symptoms of Vata Vikruti are pain. Vata is the one which brings pain and also makes you feel very tired, and depletion. Depletion means losing tissues, losing weight. So one thing here again, I will say most of the diseases come from Vata. Charaka Samhita says a big percentage of all diseases which we know are coming from Vata. Vata is the one which tends to get vitiated very quickly, especially because it comes in the mind. It's very easy to move into that worry, anxiety, fear mode. And from the mind, it will manifest in the body. Doesn't mean that every time you will see that the body is losing weight. The body may still have weight because kapha may be still holding on to that weight, but you will start seeing something like pain in the knees maybe, or some part becoming weak. So, or constipation, those kind of issues will start to come. So Vata is what we have to watch out for most. Whatever be your Prakriti, Vata tends to get vitiated most often. Next. Pitta. Pitta, yeah. Again, Pitta also has weight loss, but finally weight loss happens because of Vata only. Pitta causes that burnout, and in that burnout, Vata will come and the weight loss will begin. I will not get into detail there. I will take a few things here. The third one again, let us take. Are logical and perceptive when your Pitta is good and in balance. But the same person, when it is, or another person who is having a Pitta imbalance, which will tend to be very judgmental and critical. From the clarity in speech, you move to sharpness in speech. Or let me take the last but one, natural leadership and warmth, you move to that territorial thing, my way or highway, and anger. So those kind of things you start seeing in Pitta. Pitta's main Pitta Vikruti's chief symptoms are inflammation, fever, infection. All of these are Pitta Vikruti. You will know when you feel that heat, you know that pitta is out of balance. Also, diarrhea is pitta. Often people are not able to understand which, in the digestion, it's most easy to see if you're having constipation, it is vata, diarrhea is pitta, and kapha, we will come to it, but kapha is like, you really don't have a constipation like hard stool, but it doesn't move so easily. It moves slow. We will come to the next slide. And I'm sorry about being gross and talking about poop, but in Ayurveda, a lot of that is taken as very natural, and we talk about it a lot. So in kapha people also stable and stocky build. Unfortunately, in today's world, the value is not given to the kapha nature, which is very, very important nature, because you need that reliability, stability, but especially in corporate world, pitta is very much favored. Also vata, because they are fast in getting things done. But the kapha person will be a slow starter, will get things properly, and will have that reliability to finish it properly. But in today's world, no, it is not often valued. And so what happens is, these kapha people, especially when you have your evaluation and all, are told to behave like pitta and vata. And this is what pushes many of them into vikruti. So a kapha person will be very gentle, relaxed, and loving, nurturing, deep sleep, a little laid back is what I will say, not in that hurry to get things done. But when they do anything, it's reliable, stable. So when kapha goes out of balance, it could be for any prakriti. Again, I'm always making it clear that it is not that the kapha prakriti will go into kapha vikruti. Pitta can go into kapha vikruti, vata can go into kapha vikruti. So what we will start seeing, we will see weight gain, stubbornness, and digestion has become slow. In the mind, you're clinging to things, not letting things go. And in the morning, it's very difficult to wake up. You don't feel like getting up. Chief symptoms of kapha: swelling, gain, just like depletion in vata, here it is gain, weight gain, or anything in excess. Tissues are becoming excess, sort of, we are seeing some growths in different parts. So excess mucus, congestion, all of these are kapha vikruti. Next slide, please. Now the question comes, if Prakriti is also okay, so good, sustaining life, why do we go into this Vikruti? Why are we calling it dosha and we tend to move from Prakriti to Vikruti so easily? So here we will have to understand consciousness. And when we go into Ayurveda, consciousness plays a very, very big role in our treatments. So we have these 3 types of consciousness, or each one of us goes through these 3. These are never permanent. Unlike Prakriti, which we say is permanent, if a person is having a tamas guna at this point of time, they can move to sattva. Anyone in rajas can move to sattva. And from sattva also, one can move to tamas and rajas. And the play of all these 3 is different. But tamas brings that ignorance, rajas brings the activity, and sattva brings the clarity. All of you have heard this. So we can go to the next slide. I will not go through the whole of it. Just tamas, if you are out in a moonlight and there is a lake in front of you, but the lake is very muddy, you will not be able to see the moon at all reflected. This is tamas, because the mind is dull and ignorant, and the connection to the divine is very obscured. We can go to the next slide. Rajas. In Rajas, now the lake is not so muddy. The lake is pretty clear, but it is rippled. So you are seeing the moon reflected, but you are not seeing it exactly as it is. There is a distortion. So when the mind is full of turbulence, which distracts one from their connection to the divine, we are in Rajas. Next slide, please. Sattva is when your mind is like the still, clear lake. You see the moon fully reflected. The clarity is you're seeing things as they are. So you are at peace, reflecting the pure light of the divine is sattva. We can go to the next slide. So this is what is pushing things. And I'm going here more to the mental and emotional field. Physical field, I have moved over to the mental and emotional field here. But because in Ayurveda, we say that everything comes from the mind into the physical body. So we are looking at this in this way. So when Vata is in tamas, it brings paranoia, psychosis, addiction. When Pitta is in tamas, we see violence, extremist views. When Kapha is in tamas, we see melancholy, apathy, lethargy, severely underreactive. Now from tamas, we move to rajas. In rajas, we are overly attached to the drama of life. The drama of life is not allowing us to see things as they are. They are creating those ripples in the lake too much. So we have fear, anxiety, worry. Pitta brings judgment, intensity, aggressiveness, jealousy. Kapha brings greed, stubbornness. So this is the Rajas state. But when we move to Sattva, the clear lake, this is our highest potential. All of us have the potential to be inspired, enthusiastic, healers, especially if Vata is more in your Prakriti, healing will come naturally to you. If Pitta is more in your Prakriti, clarity, perception, understanding new things, becoming a spiritual teacher is your potential. If Kapha is more in the Prakriti, then unconditional love, nurturing, and compassion. So this is what is causing. So what happens is either our consciousness moves to a very dark state because of various things, because of the environment we live in, or everything which is happening around us, bringing us to tamas, that causes our mind to be in certain state, our consciousness to be in some state, or it is in rajas. So rajas and tamas cause the diseases in the physical body. From the mental, it comes to the physical. Can we go to the next slide? This is very interesting. And sometimes when you see it for the first time, it does seem a little difficult to digest, because here what we are saying, the main, and this is in Charaka Samhita and Shushruta Samhita, all our classic text, that the primordial cause of disease is we forget our true nature. What happens is, today if you look at disease, you tend to think that, okay, I went outside, I got this virus, or this is happening in the environment, it has come to me. We tend to think of ourselves as victims, but we are not victims. We are powerful, divine beings. And when we forget our true nature, that causes the disease. And this is the primordial cause. It manifests in three ways, of which the last one anyway is natural, but I will come to that also. What are the three ways in which it manifests? First is our senses. We start to use the senses in the wrong way. We either don't use at all, or use them too much, or use them in the wrong way. Senses means taste, what we are eating, what shabda, what we are hearing, what we are seeing, what we are smelling, what we are touching. All of this, we start to misuse them. So, and again, why we are doing this? Because pragya aparadha. Pragya aparadha means our wisdom has failed. And when the wisdom fails, why? Because again, we have ourselves, we have the divine knowledge and we know what it means to be in harmony. It is inherent in us. But the ego comes and clouds it. So, and the world. So whenever we are hearing, we hear the voices of the world and the ego. We never hear the voice of the higher self, or we rarely, I won't say never, we don't hear it so often. So the intellect gives us not the right information, which will take us in the right direction. So this is the second cause of disease. The last one is time. And we all know that time, in the beginning itself, I said that we move from kapha to pitta, pitta to vata. Vata is the time of depletion. All of us have to deplete. When the mind starts to deplete, we see diseases like Alzheimer and Parkinson. And when the body is depleting, we see that weight loss, bones becoming weaker. But time is inevitable, but we can slow down time. Let's think about what is time. When the earth does one rotation, it's a day. When it does one revolution around the sun, it's a year. So time is defined by motion. If we can slow down the movement of our mind first, and also unnecessary of the body, we can slow down time sometimes. And again, when we are slowing down, we don't mean that you don't do anything, but anything you're doing with that calmness, that tranquility, then you are slowing down time. So in Charaka Samhita, it is said that the cause of disease is Vata, Pitta, Kapha, Rajas, and Tamas. Only Sattva does not cause disease. Can we go to the next slide, please? So here it is a good time for me to take questions, but I will just give you an idea of what happens in an Ayurvedic health consultation. And as Rahul introduced me, that I graduated from NIT Raipur, and I'm wearing the shirt of our alumni 1986. Don't try to guess my age now. So after that, I worked in engineering consultancy for some time, and then I worked in software. For the last few years, I was sort of making a transition, working in software, but also working with yoga, and Ayurveda also came into my life. And when it came, I embraced it and went forward. So, but I believe that all of the background of being an engineer and being a software person helps me to become a good Ayurvedic counselor, because the body, what is the body? Body is all made of channels and pumps and all different kind of filters. Being a mechanical engineer, I can see all of that, especially having worked in power plant consultancy. And then the mind is like a software, right? We get into these loops and never get out of them. So, or we have this conditional thinking. So all of my background helps me to move towards Ayurvedic health counselor, being an Ayurvedic counselor. And right now I am an intern doing Ayurvedic health consultation. As an intern, I do take in clients, and the college helps me to build the program for anyone who comes as a client or a patient. So how do we go about? First is we do an evaluation. We determine the Prakriti and Vikruti, for which we take a complete health history, look at the physical structure. We have a long list of questions to ask. And if you are in physical, I will take your pulse. And tongue, if you are not in physical, we do many people on Zoom also. You can send a picture of the tongue, and then we zoom into it and look and see the tongue. So these are the things which we use for examination. Next one. Next slide. And then we give a plan to restore harmony and balance. First thing would be sustainable diet changes. If you are eating something and I come and say that, okay, do this, and this, you may hear me, but you may not be able to follow me. So what we do is, in our program, we make very small changes. Every week, we will say that, okay, shift this one from your diet, or remove this, or add this, very small changes. Herbs. And in the first part, we only try to work with digestive herbs, and then we move to other herbs if required. And mostly when we say Ayurveda, most people think of herbs. How are herbs different from Western medicine? We say that herbs work at the level of consciousness. Herbs bring in, say, Tulsi. That is why we worship it, because it brings a lot of wisdom, a lot of sattva. So like that, every herb, some herbs are not that sattvic, but we need it, like nutmeg. It's something which brings a little bit of tamas, but sometimes we need it. When the mind is wandering too much, we need that tamas. So I'm just saying that herbs are working more at the consciousness level. Then we give lifestyle adjustments. There are some purification techniques by which we can do purification. You must have heard of Panchakarma, but Panchakarma should be not the first resort. It should be the last resort rather. Then we can do marma therapy. Yoga and meditation, for me, this is the biggest part. I try to take this. I feel that a lot of changes can happen with yoga and meditation. Then we have sounds and mantra therapy, color therapy, aromatherapy. We make a whole, and every time we are not giving you this big list of things. So every time, first we start with the diet and the herbs. We make small changes. And then what is our goal? Our goal is to make that shift in consciousness. First of all, as I said, the responsibility in Ayurveda is on the person who is going through the treatment, because finally healing comes when you have that shift in consciousness. And through all this, we are trying to make that shift. I think I have spoken enough. Is there a last slide, Rahul? I think I already told about the process. We have an initial intake, then report of finding and follow-up visit. We can skip this one also. Maybe work together towards establishing harmony and peace. Thank you. Thanks for giving me the time to talk on this. And Rahul, any questions are there? You can tell me the question and I will be glad to answer.
Yeah. So let me get back to the. So first of all, thank you so much for a very, very well structured and well presented talk. It opened a lot of things for me. I had heard about Ayurveda, but never knew so much. And so I did not see any messages in the message. Oh, there is one. Okay. And
there was one question which you had sent to me about thyroid, and I will like to address that.
Yeah. So what we can do is, the process here is you start with that. You can answer that question. First read that question, then answer. And then we'll take Kshitija's question or any other question that comes on the chat. And then we will see those people who have raised their hands, like Sudhir has raised the hand. So we'll ask them to unmute and ask the question. So you can start with the question that was sent.
So the question on thyroid, I don't remember the exact verbiage, but what you had sent to me is there a permanent treatment in Ayurveda? Because in Western medicine, there is not. So I will come back to what I said, that Ayurveda is shift in consciousness. I would say it is possible, but you have to take the responsibility. It takes time, and you have to. Now I will go into the concept of koshas, which you must have heard many times, and maybe you understand it or don't understand it. We say that we have the 5 koshas. The Annamaya kosha, or the physical body, which is through food. So we have to take care of the proper diet, also maybe some herbs. Second comes the Pranamaya kosha, the energy body. So this one, we can help with the help of marma therapy, with the help of pranayama, yoga. All of them work on your energy body. They also work on the physical body, but also on your energetic body. But the next one is the most important, the manomaya kosha. This is where your thoughts and emotions live. Everything is manifesting from there. And this is a very sticky layer, very difficult to clean. So that is where meditation, affirmations, etc. come in. And as you start, so once we do the changes in these 3 layers, generally it is sustaining. And then you will automatically connect to the next layer, which is the wisdom layer, Vijnanmaya kosha. Because Manomaya kosha, when it is sticky, you are never able to get to the wisdom. And when you connect with your inner wisdom, you will be able to heal. So this is a generic answer I gave. But yes, for every disease, this is the same thing, whatever it may be. Specific to thyroid, there is research showing, and it is not in Ayurveda. The problem is we don't have a lot of research, but there are individual cases, few cases, which has shown the effect of yoga and meditation, especially on improvement of thyroid, what has been seen that people who had very high TSH and low available T3 and T4 when they were went through the treatment over a period of 1 year, they were able to see improvements, significant improvements in that the availability of T3 and T4 came higher and the TSH started to come to more normal levels.
Okay. Thanks, Nandita. So far, there are no messages, no questions in the messages. So let's see. I think Sudhir has raised the hand. So Sudhir, please unmute and ask your question. Sudhir, can you unmute and ask the question? Yeah, your video is on, but audio is not. You have to unmute. And then I can see Majid sir. Sudhir, can't hear you. Yeah, go ahead.
I think he's still on mute. He's still on mute.
Yeah, let's see what we can do about it. So while he works his magic on the mute button, let's go to Majid sir. Majid sir has asked, has raised a hand. Yes. Let's see if I can unmute. Sir, आप unmute करके कहिए sir.
Hello.
Hi, Majid sir.
Okay. Nandita, so I'm so proud that one of us have come to this stage that we have to follow you day by day to be healing and to be healthy going forward, both mind wise and health wise. So thank you very much for a very fantastic talk. Now I have a one question is that first of all, first time I heard and saw this matrix between doshas and gunas, and since being engineering, yes, you can really relate to the matrix and really come up with some kind of equation where you feel that where you are at that stage of your life. Is there a way? I'm pretty old, so can I go back to these? Um, Doshas, or it is only one way from childhood to be young and then elderly. Is this only one way goes up, or it can also go back? I don't know whether I was clear to ask you a question.
I got your question. I got your question, which is called in popular word reverse aging. Is reverse aging possible? Right?
Yes, exactly. I'm very much interested now at this stage.
Yeah. So what I will say here, first of all, whatever is your age, it is possible to lead a good and healthy life as per that, and slow down. Slowing down is definitely possible. Reversing also to some extent, yes, but what is inevitable that all of us have to go through the process of vata, which brings some depletion, which will be there, but it doesn't mean that we have to be victims. We can take charge, and by following a good lifestyle, a good having control on the senses or following everything correctly, and especially taking age brings a lot of wisdom. It makes it easy for us to go inside. It sort of gives us the time to get disconnected from the world. So that wisdom will help us to gain that wisdom and know what is right for us. So it's definitely possible to lead a healthy life.
Okay. Thank you, Nandita. And I think I will probably. Where are you located in US?
I am in Dallas, Texas, but
Okay.
you can contact me. I will put my mail ID here. It is simply ramesh.nandita@gmail.com. I can put it in the chat, and
Yeah.
you can contact me on mail. And I do see people on Zoom, and for however my practice has not been long, but I have been successful.
Yeah, yeah. We wish you all the best, and I think I will. Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
will because I think there were a lot of questions from my friends, but rather than asking all those, I'll let them ask you. So please send me all that information, and thank you
I
again.
put it in
Thank you
chat.
again.
I put it in chat.
Okay,
We can
thank you.
also add that to the video description when we post it on our website.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Do we have your permission, Nandita, to put?
Yes, you have.
Okay, yeah. So we will do that. So anybody
Not the
watching,
phone number, but the
no,
mail ID.
the email ID is fine. So we have Kshitij who has raised a hand. Kshitij, please unmute and ask the question.
Good afternoon, respected alumni and everyone. This is Kshitij Mishra, and an alumni of civil engineering from NIT Raipur, 2018 batch. And currently, I'm a master's student and at Purdue University. Ma'am, I wanted to ask you is that what is the Ayurvedic approach to leading a healthy life? Like how, if we are starting it early in the life, or like 20s or 30s, so what is the way we should
Very good
approach?
question.
Yeah.
And you are at the right time of life to do it. As I said, in Ayurved and in Yoga, we say that we have the 5 koshas. We will go one by one. We have the Annamaya kosha, the physical body. It is through food that we keep it healthy. So what we are eating, we have to take care of what we are eating. And what we are eating, generally what happens is this fad diets come. I'm doing keto, or I'm doing this, I'm doing Atkins. But what you have to know is, as per your dosha, what may be good for one person may not be good for the other person. So you have to first understand what is happening with you and find that diet which is correct for you. Okay. So food is the first thing. In general, if you are in balance and generally looking at maintaining it, you may not need any herbs. But in Ayurveda, we always, that is why our style of cooking, we cook with cumin and we cook with fennel and we use all these. These are all very important. Make sure that you are doing your cooking in the Indian way, or because we when we come here to the West, often we start having food which is not having these spices. These spices are very, very important for your digestive health. So maintaining a good digestion is very important. Mindfulness, I'm sorry, again, gross. Watch your poop every day. It tells you a lot about what is happening inside you. If you're getting a loose poop, it means that your pitta is becoming high. If you're getting too tight, your constipation is happening, vata is becoming high. So understand those things, or slow. So then you can adjust your food, even temporarily. So mindfulness, watch your poop, watch your breath. See the breath. If the breath is calm and tranquil, everything is good. You are in sattva. When you are in rajas, the breath will go very, very. You will know through the breath. And kapha means the breath will just slow down and feel that laziness. So just see your mind, see your breath, see the physical symptoms inside you. What is happening? Are you feeling lethargic? Are you feeling fatigued? And most important, what people forget, and most of the people who are coming to me now, I see that the reason they go out of balance is that they put self-care behind everything. When I'm established in career, I will do self-care. When my children grow up, I will do self-care. Self-care is the priority. You need to do it now. So self-care, spending time on self-care, maintaining yourself. When it is in your mind as high priority, you will be guided to the right solutions.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So,
Thank you,
yeah,
sir.
so I
And
saw that.
meditation also are very, very good tools.
Okay. So Sudhir was able to unmute himself. So Sudhir, you can go ahead and ask your questions. Please unmute.
Yeah, hello.
Hello,
My
Sudhir.
question.
We
Hello.
can hear you.
My question. Fine, thank you. My question is, what is the simple difference between Ayurveda, allopathy, and allopathy?
Again, a very good question. So, in allopathy, we mainly work on the symptoms. Like if you got fever, then we will bring down the fever, right? We will give you a medicine that brings down the fever. I'm taking a small example. In Ayurveda, we try to go to the root cause. What caused the fever to happen? What caused it in the physical body first? Maybe you ate something. Then we go to the next. Why did you eat that thing? What was happening in your mind? So Ayurvedic healing is a holistic healing where the body, mind, and spirit. In Ayurveda, the main healing happens, as I said, is the shift of consciousness. Unless the shift of consciousness happens with regular medicine, you may get temporarily okay, but you will have that cycle of repetition. Because I have myself also been through. I had a lot of headaches when I was working in the corporate world. Two things which, luckily I didn't get other diseases, but two things were always troubling me. One was headaches. I used to have severe headaches. And another was digestion. I can't say now that the digestion is 100% okay, but much better than before. But headaches I rarely get, and even if I get, I rarely take headache medicine. Through meditation, I'm able to come out. By calming the mind, I'm able to come out of headache. So the side effect of those medications is at least avoided, right? If I can come out through meditation. And it is very, very rare, like once in 6 months or once in a year it comes. So yeah, now you got it, the difference. Earlier, I would take a pill, a headache medicine. Now I have sort of calmed down my mind in a way that I don't get it often. But if I get it, I know how to deal with it. In the worst case, I will go to a medicine. It's not that I rule it out.
Okay.
Fine.
Yeah, thanks, Nandita. So I raised my hand. I have a question.
Okay.
There was no other question. So, and people, if you want to ask questions, please click the raise hand button. So, see, today it opened my eyes, right? I had heard only kapha and pitta. We have a local radio station. There is an Ayurvedic doctor comes and gives all the answers. So I had only heard about those and had a very general idea. But what you explained was very scientific and methodical way, the way Ayurveda is. So my question is, in general, there is a misconception. People generally go for allopathic, and some people, don't even try Ayurveda. So what's the way to make it more known and, so more commonplace? I'm not saying to replace allopathy. There are good things in every medicine, but how can this be made more acceptable and popular?
So we can all be ambassadors, right? So just being an ambassador of that, talking about it, like this talk today, at least few people, whoever attended, they have a better thing. I did recently a talk where I went and spoke to some people who are doing integrative medicine here. And they were also very, very impressed and liked what I had to talk about. And they felt that the combination of integrative medicine with this really brings the healing. So we have to just make it more popular. And it is becoming slowly. The fact that in the West, we have quite a few colleges of Ayurveda and so many people, Westerners are coming to it, shows that slowly it is spreading.
Yeah, I think that's the right approach. So if there is no other question, what we do is in the end, we request Majid sir to say a vote of thanks. And then we conclude the talk. After that, I will stop the recording. And if those who are hanging out, they want to ask some informal questions, we continue for a few more minutes. Sir, you can give vote of thanks.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yes. Nandita, I already told you, and then I just want to repeat because that's what we end up with. A token of appreciation, and we wish you all the best. And whatever we can do as alumni, as a group going forward for your success, and of course, celebrating your success, we're always there. So please keep in touch, and we would like to have another, hopefully, a talk with more experiences so that we can add on to it. So
yeah,
please,
we can do on specific topics, sure.
Yeah, specific topics, because let me try, because everybody's going to come to my age one day and they will all go through all these stages. So I will be a test case for you. So please, again, thank you very much. And then Rahul, I think great idea and to arrange all this. And now Shambhavi also, I have heard about this long time, but this is that we went through today. I really appreciate it, and thank you again, Nandita.
Yeah, great. And I think, thank you, sir. With that, I will stop recording. So that ends the formal session. Hold on. Stop recording.